This episode of iFanboy is sponsored by GoDaddy.com. Use coupon code iFanboy to get 10% off all of your purchases. Grab your own piece of the internet with GoDaddy.com.
You're listening to the iFanboy.com Pick of the Week podcast, episode 100, sponsored by Jim Hanley's Universe and the Netflix. Yeah! The iFanboy.com Pick of the Week podcast. As we learned, it's episode 100. I am Josh. I'm here with
Connor.
And Ron.
iFanboy.com is a place where we go to talk about comic books. And every week we read a bunch of them, and one of us will pick the best one from that week and write a review about it. Then we come here and we talk about it on the show. Before we get started, anybody in the store who hasn't read their comics yet, we very well could ruin them for you. So if you didn't come to the show, you didn't know that, I'd like to apologize. We are live here in Jim Hanley's Universe in New York City, and there are way too many people for me to not be freaked out. I mean, wow. You can hear it right now. Like, the show really sucks. Why is he? Oh, that's why. Okay.
And this is the 100th episode.
It is.
We've done this 100 times.
When you say it like that,
yeah.
Like, we've done it 100 times.
100 times over 2 years, so
wow.
It's crazy. So, well, so that said, Connor had the pick.
Yeah, Connor had a pick. No pressure.
This was a big week for books. Ron, you spent $88 at the store.
$88, but I need to asterisk that. $88, 12 of which were an issue of Nova number 2 from 1976, I think. And What If Volume 1, issue number 1.
Why?
Because I got a deal on them, like $12.
You buy that stuff on a light week.
I know.
I had 17 books, and I was up until late at night reading all the books, but the only book that had me looking forward to the next month...
No one cares how many books I bought.
Who's that guy?
I had 17. This is the most books I've ever bought in a week.
See, you're slowly becoming us.
I know.
When we started doing the podcast, Josh bought like 3 books, 4 books, and we had to and he didn't read half the books me and Connor were talking about. Now you almost bought more than I did. I know.
I'm not really enjoying it.
All the books I read, there was a lot of really good ones. There's a lot of things that I liked this week, but the only book that I had biting my nails and holding my breath while I read the end of it was Criminal Number 9 by Andrew Bishop.
Okay.
Vito likes that one. We say this all the time, like hyperbole here, but this might be the best comic book out there right now.
Currently being published?
Yes.
It's
definitely up there. I don't know if it's the best comic book being published. I mean,
there are none better.
Nova excluded.
No, I mean it's really, really good. I mean, but the thing is that it's a really good comic book, but it's because it's off the beaten path of what comic books are. I think it's harder for other people to embrace it, but if they do, it's worth it. You know?
I don't know another book that the writing and the art together are so perfectly meshed, and then the story is so perfectly tied into the writer's strength.
Yeah.
This is the story of Tracy Lawless, who is somewhat sleeper-like.
Yeah, well, the one thing about this book, when you talk about the art and the writing going together, is that these guys have had a lot of practice together. They are June and Johnny. Like they are a team. That was the best I could come up with. That was horrible.
John and Paul, maybe. Or?
Yeah. Okay. There you go. But they like each other.
Oh.
And they've had all this practice. So like with Sleeper and Gotham Noir and something else they did together. Like it's clear like they've got that certain something special going on.
They're simpatico.
And they're better at it now than they've ever been. And that's what you're seeing now, I think.
Yeah. This is the second arc. The first arc follows a guy named Leo, and he had a heist, and the heist went wrong. And that was sort of the story was the after the heist. What happens when the heist goes wrong and you're in trouble? This is all of the pre-heist stuff. This is the new guy in the gang, and he's also undercover trying to figure out who killed his brother, and all the tension that comes with being undercover and your life being in danger at any moment. And if you say the wrong thing, you let something slip that's wrong, you could be killed. But at the same time, he's got to prep for this crime, and he's got the gang to deal with, and he's got history and flashbacks to deal with. And this is the second to last issue of the story arc, and this is where everything now is starting to fall apart.
But it has to, because we've had 3 issues of tension, like, where will it start to drop, and then finally it does, and somebody looks at him and says his name. So sure I will, Tracy, and that's when you're like, oh, and now it's got to start.
Now it's on, and then the girlfriend finds a picture she shouldn't have found, and then he goes to confront who he thinks is the brother's killer, and this is where it's all happening. happening.
And I was shocked at how quickly it happened. How once the ball started rolling, it's like the line of dominoes, and they just started falling really
Once
quickly.
things go badly, they tend to go badly quickly.
And I didn't think he was going to reveal himself to the people who he thinks killed his brother until after the heist, or like it was a revenge play. But
That's why he writes good.
yeah, as I find out. That's why he won the Eisner for Best Writer.
That might be because he didn't do what Ron thought he was going to do.
Right.
If I can fool this one guy.
And if you read there's an interview with him in the back, and if you read that, he says the heist in itself isn't the part that really excites him. Writing the heist is sort of rote. You can figure the heist out. It's the before and the after of the heist. It's the interaction with the crew and everything that really excites him. And this is really where his strength lies, I think. He seems to really know the streets. It's a grimy book.
Yeah, well, you said in your review, and I think it's like the first arc was really, really good. It was excellent, and this one is way better than that.
Yep.
Like to say it makes it sound like the first arc was bad. It's not.
No.
It's just this is even better. And I remember we were in a store the other day, and I looked and on the shelves, and you could see a big stack of episode or issue 6, and a big stack of issue 7 and 8 and 9. I was like, oh, you can just they're there. They're still sitting there. People are not selling out, so you should buy them.
Yeah, if you're a fan of comics, it won the Eisner for Best Writer and Best New Series. I think that's well deserved. I think it really is one of the best new series of the past year.
If you're a fan of Daredevil, if you're a fan of Captain America, if you're a fan of Uncanny X-Men, this is better than I think all of those books.
Wow.
No, he's right.
It's better than Uncanny. I agree. I can actually admit that. It is better than Uncanny. As much as it pains me to admit that, it's better than Uncanny right now.
And also, if you like this book and you haven't gone back and read Sleeper, wow,
Yes.
you're missing out. I mean,
Yeah.
Sleeper's like the book that you finish and you go, wow, why did I not know about this the moment that it came out?
I just gave Sleeper to a friend of mine, all 4 volumes, and she was just like, how did I not read this when it came out? It was like, it's one of the, and you guys, that was the same thing you guys gave me. When I read Sleeper, I was in shock that I missed it. And I was actually kind of pissed at myself. But and I was even more pissed because it's a Wildstorm book, and I've got Josh telling me this book is great, and I was like, how do I not know about this? Not that you know, because you don't really read that much Wildstorm.
I didn't even know what Wildstorm was at the time.
So
I think that's the book. Sleeper is the book.
I'm in agreement with you this week.
Criminal is the book. Sleeper's also the book, but it's not what we're talking about.
There's people.
I'm going to go into autopilot for the next book.
I think I'm the only one here. Does anybody like Savage Dragon anymore? Am I the only one in the store? You're all crazy.
It's being published for you.
So Savage Dragon, issue number 132, finally came out. Eric Larson, one of the Image founders, this is his baby. For
That's
those of you
a
who
big
don't know.
fat book.
It's an 80 pages of all-out action. Again, similar to Astro City, I don't know when the last issue came out. I vaguely remember it. It might have been a 100-page giant. I don't remember. But for those who might not know, Eric Larson is currently the publisher of Image Comics, so he spends a lot of time publishing Image Comics, and not as much time working on his baby, his comic. And so it tends to suffer.
Because clearly it doesn't sell.
Right, yeah, exactly. Which is a shame because, again, in terms of what's good about comic books, Savage Dragon is, if you ask me, one of those things, one of those best things about comic books. I don't remember what happened in the last issue. He provides a great recap, where he actually owns up. This may not be the best jumping on place for new readers after all. So he's aware of the screw up, and he kind of mea culpas at the end in his letters column. But what you got of this was you got for $6.99. It's a high price tag, understandable.
$7.
Yeah, but 80 pages.
Okay,
$7.
That's a lot. 80 pages of new story.
I could get lunch for that.
And so what we got is
Not a drink, though.
a standard 22-page Savage Dragon story, and then a really long rest of the page backup story to some of the characters in the universe.
Does he vary the art style? Is that what I noticed when I flipped through there?
He didn't actually do the art on the backup story.
Oh, well, that would be why then.
Yeah, exactly. And but what's great about this is that Eric Larson has written and drawn all 132 issues. He's now at the point where he's coloring, and he has been trying to letter them, but he's given up on lettering, and he actually got John Workman to do the letters, which was awesome to see.
Still
John
making
Workman
him do them hand
Yeah,
lettering?
hand lettering. Yeah, with John
There will be
Workman.
no digital lettering on that book?
But it's truly a labor of love, and it's great to see that he's just keeping it going. And I hope that he gets it back on schedule. He claims he will, and if he does, and he ever comes up with a good jumping on point, and you're not reading it, I strongly recommend it. So that's why I just wanted to plug Savage Dragon.
Again.
I can't stop.
Maybe someday we'll buy it.
Maybe someday.
Or maybe not. Teen Titans 51, I think, was the closest I came to someone threatening Criminal for the title of Pick of the Week.
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah, just
What are you
lightning-
staring me down for?
And I didn't even think we were going to talk about it. Like, it wasn't even on my stack. And you're like, we're going to talk about Teen Titans? I was like, I guess so.
Did you not like it?
I thought it was fine.
This is just fun superhero comics. You know, I was excited for Sean McKeever mostly because the Adam Beach and stuff was sort of somewhat of a letdown, but he seems to really know the characters. He knows the history. He knows what has come before. Basically, the story is the future Teen Titans who've all grown up to become the Justice League are back and they're evil.
Yeah.
And they're...
You know, I love the alternate timelines,
Yes.
the alternate futures and stuff like that.
Right. So this is they have to face their future selves, what they're going to become, what they're going to do.
Yeah.
Are they going to become these people, or what they're going to do to not become these people? Because you don't want to be. They're not completely evil,
Right.
but they're not people you want to be.
They're not the typical idea of the Justice League. Like, you know, the future Batman who is Tim
Robin.
Drake, who is the current Robin.
Right.
Bear with me. Carries a gun. And so anybody who knows anything about Batman is that he doesn't carry a gun. So why does he carry a gun? Why is he a little darker? A little edgier?
They're more totalitarian than they are completely just evil. Like they're not the crime syndicate. You know, they're not like
They're not totally evil.
Yeah, but this issue featured one of the best final pages in a while.
Yes.
Faced with the prospect of becoming this evil person, what is Robin to do but put a gun to his head?
To stop it from happening.
Right.
But he's not going to die. I
Maybe
mean, it's
he
kind of
will.
like a false cliffhanger.
Maybe.
Because he's got his own book.
Him
He's
and
in
Oliver
Batman.
Queen will team up in
I know, but it's like there's not like another. Well, I was gonna say there's not like another Robin because there hasn't been like 7. But it's. I mean,
But it's a powerful moment.
It was
It's
a
not about
powerful
what's
moment.
going to happen.
If I only read Teen Titans, I don't read Robin, and I don't
Right.
read Batman, so it had resonance for me. But as a DC reader, you know it's a false cliffhanger.
I don't think he's going to shoot himself in the head seriously, but it's about what the character's going to
Maybe
do.
he goes into a
I will.
coma
I will.
for a year.
I will buy everything Sean McKeever writes for the rest of his career if he has Robin kill himself in the next issue. I said it. I'm on the record.
I don't think that's good enough. I think you've got to drop Savage Dragon
No, you have to drop X-Men.
and X-Men.
No.
You've got to hold every DC book.
He's getting angry. Shut up!
This is a lot of fun. Teen Titans is like the spine of the DCU. It always has been, and this is sort of bringing it back to its rightful place of being a
I
really.
think it's the spine. I think it's more.
Yeah,
the heart.
no,
It's like the liver.
Yeah, I mean, isn't Justice League the spine?
It's sort of the spleen.
It's the appendix. You don't really need it. You can take it out if you don't need to.
That's the Outsiders.
That is the Outsiders. That's
Yeah.
really good. Yeah. So.
So I think it's a lot of fun. If you're looking for a fun superhero book, 51 is a good place to jump on. Maybe? I don't know.
I don't know. I didn't read it.
50 was the
Look
first
at me.
story. It's the first story in an arc. So I mean, if you want the.
Why don't you read it?
I want more books.
You like good books?
I know, but I have a lot of good books already, and I'm not interested
He
in
needs to
it.
save his money to buy ties.
I just,
I love you.
I only have 3. And they're all at least 4 or 5 years old.
All right, so the last book I just want to quickly mention this week is Halloween is coming. You might have some kids in your life that you want to share comics with, or whatever. A great way to do it is Franklin Richards, Son of a Genius, Monster Mash. Chris Eliopoulos' kind of little baby. Well, that sounds weird. But a bunch of really 5-page short stories that are really good for kids. I know we often talk. We get a lot of questions about comics for kids. Continually, the Franklin Richards series is probably one of the best ones to do. And I mean, I'm a dork, but I every time one of these comes out, I'm excited because they're fun to read.
I give my kid Criminal.
And that's why he's gonna come out screwed up.
Doesn't go well.
I'm out screwed up.
So
I don't have a kid.
They took him away.
that you're aware of.
The state was like, we can't have this.
I think I don't have a kid.
Okay, well now that we've got the books out of the way, let's dive into the audience participation part of the show.
Ooh.
We for the past couple of weeks we've been soliciting emails from our from the loyal iFanboy faithful. So we want to go through some of those, answer them, and then also take some questions from the audience if you all have any. So that said, our first email comes from Will, also known as Six Gun on the iFanboy forums. Hopefully some people here have heard of him because he posts a lot. But anyway, so Will asks, what is our favorite work of prose, and what comic would we compare it to? He doesn't care how absurd our comparison is, but we just gotta find one. That's an interesting question.
I can't say all time, but I can say that my favorite recent work of prose is Cavalier and Clay, which you can compare to The Escapists. I'm out.
That's a cop-out, wow.
Man, you unbelievable jerk. Because I'm just all like, oh, there's so many books, how do you pick a favorite? I would say the thing that I most loved in recent years was I read the Baroque trilogy from Neil Stephenson for a year. Because it's like a bajillion pages, 3 books that are all about 1,000 pages. And I can't compare it to anything, but he told me I have to, so...
No matter how crazy. Science. History.
Fantastic Four.
Go. You talk for a minute. I'm going to think about it.
I'm in the same boat as you. My 2 favorite books ever, and they're cliche, but On the Road by Jack Kerouac and The Fountainhead by Ayn Rand. And fucked if I can compare those to a comic book. I guess Ex Machina for The Fountainhead, I guess. Maybe. I don't know. I'm not very smart.
I can't help you. I've never read either.
On the Road could be, it could be compared to any sort of like...
Ooh, the Green Lantern, Green Arrow on the road.
Yeah, the Denny O'Neil thing or something like that. Or
Okay.
it could be compared to any kind of, feelings, relationship-y kind of book, I guess, but with a lot of drugs and drinking.
I'm going to say Preacher. And here's why.
That's not a book of prose? Oh.
No. I'm
Right.
comparing the Stevenson books to Preacher, and here's why.
Oh, you're back on your thing.
Yeah, are you done?
Yeah, I'm done.
We're not polite. Because when you read those Stevenson books, it's crazy, and it's just like everything gets thrown in, and it keeps taking left turns, and it keeps doing things, which is the thing I liked about Preacher, because I can't explain either of them. If you were to say, what is this about, I'd be like, it would be impossible to explain, and that's what I like about those things, which are so different and so other. That's that quality of that work that I like.
All right.
Alright, cool.
That's enough out of
Fantastic.
you.
We got a lot of these, Josh. Paul from Boston. Is Paul from Boston here? He said he might come.
Okay, oh well.
No.
I miss you, Paul.
All right. He says, if you had a superpower, what would it be?
I always go for the whole telepathy mind control thing, because that helps me get what I want. But these days I'd probably go for long distance teleportation.
Yeah. I would choose Jamie Madrox's power because I've got a lot to do, and I don't like to do all of it.
So you would, instead of finding a way of getting out of the work, you would
That's good.
streamline
That's a can-do.
I'm
that's
not
a can-do attitude.
shunning my responsibility. I'm just going to multiply myself to do
it. All right.
And the primary me gets to sleep.
But what if in reality it's like Michael Keaton Multiplicity, and they get dumber as you get the dupes?
Some of the work can be done by dumb dupes. I'm not lying to you.
About 8 hours of the day is wasted on dumb dupe work. 5 days a week. Anyway, I would probably go with. Can I choose the telepathy and telekinesis at the same time? The Jean Grey.
Yeah. That's
You could pretty much do everything at that point.
Yeah. You see, that's the problem when
But
you
you
play.
can't dupe yourself.
Well, right, but you could just like
You could use your telepathy to tell Josh to do your work.
I could figure out figure out the best way by looking at you to get you to do the things I want you to do.
We're not good people.
I'd wear that. I wouldn't stop you.
Anyway.
Good
I've
luck
got a lot to
finding
do.
that.
Don't make me do more.
All right. So our next.
You would have the dupe power, so it's fine. Oh, Stuart from the UK. I'm gonna read it badly now. Wait, what part of the UK should it sound like?
It's from
London.
Oh, it's London?
Yeah.
Should I do the scary one?
Yes.
All right. Congratulations on your 100th episode. I'm enjoying the hell out of 52 thanks to your recommendation. Can I ask you what you think of Countdown so far? You think it's going to be as successful as 52?
That accent always freaks me out. It's like the scary guy in the bar.
I asked you a bloody question. You're going to answer it, stop flapping your gob. Fucking hell.
No, Countdown is not going to be as successful as 52. That doesn't mean I don't like it.
It's selling a lot.
Yeah.
It's not selling as much, but it's the follow-up, and it's got a different team. It's not going to be as successful, but it's enjoyable for what it is.
Not to take away from it. I
think the reason I'm still reading is so you two won't yell at me.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay.
Yeah, because you got a beating coming if you stop.
All right, he's got a second question. Have you ever read Crossing Midnight by Mike Carey? I read the first trade and thought Carey was at his finest with creepy magic and intriguing characters. And now I'm going to answer my own question. I'm reading it. I think I'm the only one, obviously, because it's a Vertigo book about magic. I'm reading it. It's great. They're on issue 10 or 11. I think 11 just came out this week. It's really good. It's about Japanese mysticism, and it's sort of like... Yeah.
Sounds like nothing I'd ever read.
No, I know. It
Nothing
is.
I'd ever bother
But
with.
there's also
very nice stuff like that.
teenage prostitutes
Hey, that's good.
in the last couple issues.
Sorry.
and
I can't stop myself.
I totally baited him there.
He did.
It's very good. You should read it. If you liked his previous work on Lucifer, or you like Sandman kind of stuff, then it's great.
Mike, or Mike Graham 6 from the forums, from Ottawa, Ontario, Canada, writes, on particularly heavy weeks, how do you choose which books to discuss in the podcast and don't go there again?
I'm awful. How do we choose what books to... well, essentially, this is kind of behind the scenes, but each week, one of us does the rights to review, Then as soon as we finished writing that review, we sent an email to the other two saying, here are the other books I think that should be talked about.
That person is the producer.
Yeah, it's the producer.
Right.
And that person then emails and says the other comics that they want to talk about, and then we kind of fight it out until we record, and
Sometimes
really
we
no
slip,
science to it.
Sometimes we slip one in there unbeknownst to the other two, and
Yeah.
because we really want to talk about it.
Sometimes we forget that he said he wanted to talk about that book. So
A lot of times what'll happen is that you'll end up with either way too many books, and I know that
Yes.
like it sounds horrible, like we don't want to go forever. We put a time limit on it, so we try to do just the right amount. And some weeks there's just not enough to talk about, unfortunately.
I have forgotten to mention that Mike Graham sent in about 10 questions, and we're going to do some of them, but
we're
not
not
all.
doing them all, Mike. We apologize.
But thank you, because he covered us in case no one else did. How does one apply to be an intern? I have the shirt. Now what do I have to do? And what does the job entail? Will I be stuck basically cleaning Ron's toilet? Ron.
My toilet's really dirty, so please. That sound that came out awful. I didn't work at all.
Yeah. So far this week we got Ron with a dirty toilet, love Japanese prostitutes, and I think there was one other one. Oh, I know what the other one, the Afro thing.
That's the Afro one. Yeah, I'm sorry.
You hate Staten Island.
Yes, I hate Staten Island. Yeah. It's the bridge toll. Have you driven there? It's like I need a mortgage to drive over
It's
that
the guy with
bridge.
the Afro who said it too.
Are you a Japanese prostitute?
I'm Jamaican, damn it.
So how does it get to be an intern?
Essentially, just buy a shirt. That's pretty much it. No.
If you wear the shirt, we see you. You're gonna have to do stuff for us.
Yeah. No, essentially, anyone can become an intern if you want to hang out with us and help us. That's pretty much it.
Or you could have gone to college with us.
Or date us, or marry us, or
Yeah.
yeah. So
Yes.
It's not fun.
yeah.
Mike also asked, "What is our favorite comic book crossover?"
Extinction Agenda. It's my favorite crossover of all time. You ever read it?
He just did the little clap.
There was a laugh. There was a
It was
laugh
great.
from the Peanut Gallery back
It was
then.
it was the culmination of the height of the Jim Lee X-Men Claremont era.
Error is a good word for it.
Yeah. 1990, 1991. It spanned Uncanny X-Men, New Mutants, and X Factor.
Isn't that the
You had
era that
Jim-
made comics?
You had it was before it went bad. You had Jim Lee, Rob Liefeld, Will Portacio. I can never say that. It was fantastic. It was one of the only crossovers where you had to buy every book to read each one, and I had no problem doing it. It was a blast.
Josh, I almost shudder to ask.
No Man's Land.
No Man's Land is
No
an
Man's
excellent
Land,
one.
and in the same vein, this was, what would have been around 2000?
99.
99, 2000. Big earthquake takes Gotham City out almost completely.
It separates it from the rest of the country. They're No Man's Land.
Cataclysm, and then Aftershock, and then No Man's Land are the three sort of events of it was a year-long event. Every Batman book, it went every week. There was a book that comes, and honestly, I can't imagine a book coming
It
out
was like
now.
Greg Rucka and Alex Maleev did some of the
Yep.
art, and Bob Gale did some of the writing.
And it was
excellent.
good all the way through. Every bit of it was good.
That was the last consistent, sustained, good run of Batman books. Every book was really good.
Yep, and I couldn't imagine a thing today where I would buy every book in the line. I'm not going to buy all the Spider-Man books. I don't want to do all that.
Right.
But like back then when I was broke. I'm still broke, but like I wouldn't.
I was gonna say for me, Crisis on Infinite Earths, which is cop out, but I think I'm gonna go Here's, which is another cop out.
I just out Batmaned him.
Yeah, you did.
Wow, fascinating. All right, our next email comes from Lewis Kwok of the Kwok Talk podcast, which you all should check out. Also a contributor on the forums. He asks an intriguing question. Let's say iFanboy, the podcast, ceased to exist, and each of you was to continue on with your own individual podcast. What would it be about, i.e. subject matter or a different hobby, and why?
This is a good time to make my announcement.
No,
This is funny. You tell it.
It's very similar because 2005, when the podcasting thing kind of started, we started doing this podcast.
2005.
And then we started doing the iFanboy podcast because we already had the site. And then it's safe to say that I got a little podcast crazy.
Yes.
And I was like, I'm going to podcast about everything. And so I launched something called Mozcast, which was a podcast dedicated to Morrissey. Which, don't laugh, it lasted 2 episodes and got my picture on the wall in the Salford Lads Club. And if you know anything about the Smiths, I'm in the Southland Lads Club. But after 2 podcasts, I stopped. And then Connor and I were going to...
And actually, Ali was in the back there.
Yes, Allie was going to be on it. We were going to launch a podcast called Kiefercast, which was going to be all Kiefer Sullivan all the time. Because the dude never stops. He just got picked up on a Dewey.
Yeah.
In fact, I still might do that. I own Kiefercast.com. Don't think about it. So you might see that coming soon to a podcast near you.
Josh?
I can't beat any of that.
We had a graphic, we had a website, we had Ali was on board, we were going to do the...
You know what the best part of this is that this is the first I've ever heard of it.
Yeah. Well, it didn't happen.
It's like they were gonna have a coup and not tell me. It's as if like they were gonna leave me. They've already got an apartment rented, and just like at the last minute, oh Josh, we won't see you again.
Yeah. We're gonna do this thing.
Luckily, life got in the way. So, because I don't know if that would have been a good idea.
I can talk about anything.
But did
It doesn't really
you
matter.
see when he jumped on the Christmas tree?
Yes.
Oh my God.
We were gonna lead with that, I think.
Yeah, that was our lead. He's a pirate.
Our next question is from Paul, who's in the audience. Paul, come here.
You want to read the question?
Come read the question. No,
Come on, you do a podcast. Come on.
What am I doing? Am I coming up there?
Here.
Yes.
All right.
Here's your question.
Have a script? I don't know.
It's right here.
All right. Paul, parentheses, from Philadelphia, PA. Congratulations on 100 episodes. Congratulations. And bonus points to Connor for never missing an episode.
Connor is the Iron Man of podcasting. He's like the Lou Gehrig.
I'm gonna die soon. That was my other announcement.
It's horrible. Invincible is one of the most frequent recommendations from the iFanboy crew, but what if Kirkman left the series and a new writer had to take the reins? Who are your top 3 choices for his replacement? What could these writers bring to the series?
Thank you, Paul.
Thank you. Yeah, let's hear it from Paul.
Oh my script.
I'm gonna sell it on eBay.
I'm lost without this.
So we talked about this actually over dinner tonight,
Yeah, we did.
and I think we're it's polarizing.
Invincible is Robert Kirkman, so it's a little bit like saying, I don't know, what is The West Wing without Aaron Sorkin? I mean, it sucks. That's what it is. And
It got better.
Yeah, I haven't made it past that point though, because it's.
No, but I think Josh and I follow the same campus. I don't know that I would continue reading it. I don't read the Brit book that doesn't have Kirkman on it, which isn't even as important, or to me as Invincible is. I can't imagine anybody else writing those characters. I'm sure someone could, but I refuse to think about it. Ron?
I completely disagree with the both of you. I think that the mark of a good character and the mark of a good comic book universe is the ability to have multiple creators work on it. Imagine if Fantastic Four ended when Stan and Jack ended.
What if Terry Moore had stopped doing Strangers in Paradise and just gave it off to somebody else
You
to
had to
write?
go there, didn't
Yeah.
you?
Suck it.
But Strangers in Paradise isn't a superhero story.
It doesn't matter.
That
It's
doesn't
just a
matter
story.
at
It's a
all.
story.
Yeah.
It's a story.
Well, to answer Paul's question, I think Dan Slott could write very well for
Oh
Invincible.
my God!
What?
Really?
Yeah.
No.
Why?
No.
This is like our normal conversations. No, but I think Dan Slott could do it. I think Jay Ferber could do it. In Dynamo 5. I think anybody who's got a good idea of what a good superhero book can do, if you have the template and the characters there and the history is rich enough, you can do your.
So who would be a good replacement for Terry Moore in Strangers in Paradise?
Nobody. Don't go there. There. I mean, I understand what you guys are saying, but yeah. So.
I don't have an answer. That's why we made you read it, because I didn't have anything to say. Ross says, congratulations on the 100th episode. I've listened to the podcast in Thailand, which is famous for scantily clad women on its pristine beaches. The Philippines, famous for its scantily clad women on its pristine beaches who are patrolled by guys with guns. In Japan, famous for its ninjas, some of whom could be scantily clad women. And on numerous flights with United Airlines, which is famous for its shit service and seats with legroom that have shrunk about 85% of the normal size. Ross is funny. And through all these podcasts, I have one burning question. How on earth did Hunter get the nickname Connor? I can see that Craven would have been too obvious, so what is it? A tribute to the Terminator movies, or was it the Highlander? There can be only one answer, that is. That's his joke.
Yeah. I would like this joke to die. It was funny for a few weeks.
For those who don't know the history of it, is that a couple of months ago we started soliciting our audience to record the opening for our show, mainly because we're lazy and we got tired of doing it. No, because we wanted to participate and it's cool and fun to do that. Somebody sent one in that was really good, but in the intro he said, every week on iFanboy, Ron, Josh, and Hunter talk about the greatest comics. We don't know why.
He said why. He said he knew someone named Hunter and it was on his brain and it just went wrong.
So
It's a recording. Do it again.
I never realized what he did. Oh.
So we jumped all over that. We laughed about it, and for the past 4 months, people referred to.
I
as
think
Hunter.
people seriously think my name is Hunter.
And if they were smart, they know it's Connor with 2 N's.
Shut the hell up. But this closes the book on the Hunter joke. There's
Yes.
no more Hunter email.
So
we're not going to play any more Hunter voicemails.
Memoriam on Hunter. Hunter is dead. Long live Hunter. So,
Although if I need an alias,
It's a moratorium.
what did I say?
Memoriam.
Oh, okay. That's close.
That's how Hunter showed up in the first place.
All right. So,
Malapropism.
So if you want to write an email and have your question answered on the show in a future show, you can send us an email to contact@ifanboy.com.
Netflix.com has over 75,000 titles and they've got no late fees and they got free shipping both ways and super fast delivery.
They do it both ways.
Plans start
That wasn't even me.
Plans start as low.
Because it was too fast.
This is a sponsor.
They have no idea.
They have no idea.
None whatsoever.
Plans start as low as $4.99 a month, and if you go to www.netflix.com/iFanboy, you get a 2-week free trial at Netflix. So normally here we do voicemails. Does anyone in the audience have a question? You are going to be a live
We're doing
voicemail.
live voicemails.
Anyone?
And if nobody does what I did,
Come forward one at a time.
You may come forth.
If you could just tell us your name and where you're from, and then ask your question, that'd be awesome.
My name is Julian from Queens.
Woo!
That's it? All right. I heard the next
Represent.
a story.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're rolling Queens. That's how it is.
Okay, that sounds all right, the next big X book is Messiah Complex. I want to know if I want to jump onto that, what other books prior to that should I read?
You take that one.
If we smoked now, we would do that.
What other books to read to catch up to Messiah Complex? I don't know, to be honest with you.
You stumped him.
You stumped me. Only because it's hard because I don't know what threads the storyline's picking up from. Currently, they're doing the endangered species thing where Beast is tracking all that kind of stuff. What I would do is Marvel will probably put out like a prologue, like kind of like they did that with World War Hulk and
Civil War.
yeah.
That 25-cent Daily Planet right behind you.
There's a 25-cent right there. That's exactly what you need. Marvel puts out a little Daily Bugle newsprint thing and see it says Messiah Complex. Read that,
Okay.
and then you'll be all set. And just buy the
Saved
books.
by the veto.
Yeah, thank you, Vito. Yes, Vito Del Sante, everybody.
I'm just selling books.
So, thanks. All right. Anybody else have a question? Or? All right, big Yanks. His reputation precedes him.
Because you're a Mets fan.
Don't talk about the Mets.
I'm a big Yankees
fuck
fan.
me.
We're doing the show.
I'm sorry. It's 7-3 in the 5th. Marlins. I know. Anyway.
Well, I guess we dated when we were doing this.
Big Yanks, take it away.
Alright, so I just bought the Captain America Omnibus and the New Frontier Absolute. I got 2 questions. What's the best way to read them? Because it was a pain to read them on the Long Island Railroad. And do you have any other recommendations for Omnibus or an Absolute editions?
Those are not travel books.
Yeah,
Those are
not
not
the
take
one.
on the subway books.
Those are keep it home nice for the
Frontier,
coffee
I didn't
table
read.
kind of thing.
Omnibus, I carried in my bag. So
Yeah.
it was, like,
Yeah.
it stayed a little.
You're a bold man to take an Absolute or Omnibus on the train.
Omnibus,
Yeah.
Ron actually reads his in a hermetically sealed room.
Yeah. There's no air gets in.
There are no corners in that room. It's like Battlestar
I took the
Galactica.
slip cover off.
Yeah, you gotta take the
slip
slip.
covers.
I've got a stack of slip covers in my office room.
Do you
thing.
realize how backward that is?
Why?
The slip cover is to protect the book.
But it's so funny.
You protect the slip cover. So that's like. Well, I took my jacket off so that it wouldn't get rain on it. That's why you have a jacket.
The slip cover has the best
Thank
cover
you,
on it.
yeah.
You don't want to mess it up. It picks the best cover.
Yeah, exactly.
The slip cover.
Says the
they
guy who
picked
brings
the
his
best-
giant book on the train.
Without the slip cover though, so I wanted to read it. It's the best time. I have a daughter. I can't read it at home.
See?
You can't read it at home. You can't read it on the train. Why'd you buy them?
No, I do read them on the train. I'm just saying it was a pain to read it on.
Did you give your daughter Criminal?
Jonathan London knows this, but when nobody's home and it's just us, I'll just watch any movie I want. So we've seen Pan's Labyrinth.
You know this is being published on the internet, right?
She hasn't slept in months.
No, she's still 2 years old.
Oh, she doesn't know anything.
She don't know what
Yeah,
she's watching.
fine, yeah.
She saw the monster. She's like, oh.
Do you like Watchmen?
I haven't read Watchmen.
There you go.
There you go.
The Watchmen Absolute Edition. That's a beautiful book.
And,
Yeah, Washington's in the front.
yeah, and you
it's
can
up
get it
there.
right up there. Yeah, and you can get 20% off using a coupon. Yeah.
That's a sizable discount on a book of that price.
There's, I'm a big fan of and there was an email that we didn't get to answer that talked about the Silver Age. I'm a big fan of the Fantastic Four omnibus. Okay. There are 2 volumes out. Volume 1's kind of hard to find, but it's Jack Kirby art, printed really well. And from a historical standpoint of what's good about comics, I'm a big fan of that. So,
And the only other one that you didn't mention is The Dark Knight Returns.
yeah, but those are kind of rote. I mean, those are the obvious ones to say.
I know that, but like that's the one you need to have.
Yeah.
I don't own many of the absolutes.
Whoa, he doesn't
Yeah,
like Frank. He doesn't like Frank Miller.
I don't really love everything that he does, but I just reread those recently, and even The Dark Knight 2, which I originally didn't think was very good, I really liked a lot more the second time. Yeah, that book is not indicative of Frank Miller. That book, I don't read that book.
What did he do to Wonder Woman? I read that and I put it down. So that's it. It's done.
All right, thank you, Big Yanks. Thank you. All right, next. Oh, actually, here we go. Dan, then you.
Hey, I'm Chris from Long Island. Yeah, I take off my slipcover when I'm reading the Daredevil omnibus, so yeah.
Yes, I think you find more and more people taking the slipcover off. I bet you do.
That's because comic fans are obsessive compulsive.
Yeah, but I take them to school too, so one study hall. Okay, but anyway, yeah, I was gonna ask, what music do you watch? Listen, whatever. What do you listen to when you read comics?
Ooh, good question, Josh.
I don't know if I normally do. I tend to put on something like that doesn't have a lot of words or things that I have to concentrate on. You know, like
Easily
there's
distracted.
Well, like if you like
Just sing along.
think of like a Bad Religion song, which is just like a big essay on politics. I would listen to that while I was reading comics.
Yeah.
But like, I don't know.
All right, Connor.
I don't put music on for the books. I usually have something in the background, but usually television or something, but not
I don't do
music.
that.
Music gets too catchy and gets inside your head, whereas television used to be white noise.
I always listen to music when I read my comics.
Well, then, fantastic.
And it's hard to say what I usually listen to, but I'll tell you what I listened to this past Wednesday. I listened to a band called The Fleeting Joys, which are really good, and they sound a lot like My Bloody Valentine. And then after that, I listened to My Bloody Valentine, so because they reminded me. I was like,
I was gonna wear my Bad Religion shirt here, so.
oh well,
yeah.
there you go. Bad Religion, represent. So, all right,
Next.
thank you. Next.
My name's Sean. I'm from Staten Island.
Damn the toll!
I know.
He's not gonna get home till like 4 a.m.
I just heard your special edition podcast about the Superman Doomsday DVD, and I wanted to know if you guys thought it would have been better if they had done it in 2 parts. The first part being the battle with Doomsday completely, with the Justice League at the beginning, and then Superman when he came in, and then have the second volume be the Reign of the Superman, as it actually was in the comics, instead of the way they did it, just kind of meshing it all together.
No. No,
Sit down.
No. I think what they did was they took a story that was necessary, right? They market that DVD not just for people in the room who read all the books, but people who watch cartoons, watch the Justice League cartoons. People like that don't need the Justice League. They don't need Booster Gold. They don't need Green Lantern and Mongul. They don't need Steel and Superboy. That's
Mongol?
Yeah.
As in Mongolia?
I'm sorry, I never. No.
It's not important. It's not important. That's too much to explain. You know, the most important element is Superman fights Doomsday and he dies and he comes back and takes back the city. And
It would have been an hour and a half of animated fighting.
But
It
regardless,
was the right length. It was 78 minutes. It was perfect.
The important elements of the story are there. Whether or not I probably would have enjoyed a more faithful adaptation, but I've read the books. My brother, who hasn't read the books, likes the movie for itself because he doesn't know and probably wouldn't sit through explanations about who the characters are.
See, and that's the problem with converting these comics to movies and TV shows, stuff like that, is because like we're all rabid about it being exactly like the page.
I'm not.
Well, yeah, except for he's a freak.
Right.
But then when you get beyond us rabid comic fans, you know, that just
gotta
goes right
make
over their
money
heads.
off the
Yeah,
DVD.
exactly. Yeah, it's got to.
Which
Let's
apparently,
put this one out now, and then put the next one out in November or December when Christmas is coming.
I bet you the second one wouldn't have sold well. I mean,
I thought it
keeping
would've
it in
been
one DVD. Yeah, no, it would have been cool.
Right.
Definitely would have been cool, but yeah, so.
but we know from someone in animation that sold very well, so there are definitely going to be a lot more of those direct-to-DVD and DC book movies.
And apparently, even Bruce Timm admits that the cheap line.
Yeah, that line
The
was.
cheek line killed me. Yeah.
It was like a huge scar.
He-
They were like,
he
it looked
missed-
a lot better at first. I don't
He
know.
missed that was a mistake.
Cool, thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions? Or? All right, cool. All right, well, thank you everybody for asking your questions. We really appreciate it. And on future shows, if you have a question that you want to call in, you can call our voicemail line at 1-888-FANBOYS. That's 1-888-326-2697. It's become like it's I don't even think about it.
I can do it in my sleep.
It used to be, we'd be go, fanboys. Oh, wait.
Quick look at my phone.
All right, so everyone who's here in the room, if you were here before the show started, we did a little contest doing a giveaway, and we had people answer some trivia questions. We went through the trivia questions and picked out all the right answers. Now we're going to reveal the winners.
Yes.
I'll go first. I don't even know what question I
You want
have.
to read the question and then the answer and say who won it?
I'm going to, but
All right. We didn't talk about this in advance, so.
Yeah. So
Completely not prepared.
On the fly.
Yeah,
the
we have day
prize
jobs.
is a $20 gift certificate to the Japan's Universe, and the first winner is for the question: which of the following? Oh, these are questions that were all having to do with the podcast the last 100 episodes. Which of the following writers never had a pick of the week? The choices were Paul Jenkins, Garth Ennis, Chris Claremont, Robert Kirkman, and the correct answer was Garth Ennis.
Damn.
And the winner was Epstein.
Epstein.
Leo.
Yeah.
Hey. There you go. You got your
I do.
Take your commemorative slip and your.
We like Garth Ennis. We did a show about him. He's never been pick of the week.
Never pick of the week. Maybe.
We should probably buy his books.
All right. I'll go next. Question was which series? There's a typo here. It says which wrong.
Yes, there's
All
a
right.
typo.
Which series? Which series has been chosen the most times as the pick of the week? And just for fun, guess the number. But nobody did that.
I did it.
Some people did.
Yeah.
The winner didn't.
The winner didn't. The answer is Daredevil, and the winner is Chris DeSerbo.
Yo. Thanks.
My favorite one.
Just to note, only 2 people got that one right. So
It was 7 times.
was it 7?
Yes.
I don't read the site.
You know what the number one was?
Oh.
Number one, that was the number one.
Oh, great.
You got the second one. You got the
Oh,
second one.
I'm sorry. I'm very tired. All right, I'm gonna just pick this one. And then this question was, which writer has had the second most pick of the weeks? We said that because we thought that the first one would be pretty obvious.
Who would? Say the answer. We'll tell you the first one.
You know, the most pick of the weeks has gone to Bendis by
a lot.
A lot.
Wow.
And then the writer with the second most pick of the week was Ed Brubaker.
Surprise, surprise.
And the winner, and I swear to God I didn't do this on purpose, but it's paper. Paul.
So thank you all for playing. We really appreciate that. So we start wrapping up, but before we wrap up, we have a small shout out, right?
Of course. We had our first iFanboy baby this week. Not us. Someone on the website.
I told you. I don't think I have one.
There may be little Connors around, little bald kids. Jim Ski, who we know from our website.
Jim Ski from St. Louis.
And Mrs. Ski. As much as we know their name, they had a baby. And the thing about this baby is that the forum actually willed it into existence. Right around the time the show started, they announced that they were pregnant on the thing, and it was sort of the first community gelling thing. So we don't know what he thought of his books this week. So that's really
kind of
the
busy,
fallout.
I think.
Yeah, whatever. He's just looking at it going.
So congratulations to Jim Ski, one of our longtime contributors at iFanboy.com and in the forum. So congratulations, we're very happy for you.
And that's our show.
That's our show.
So
100th episode in the bag.
Little bit of business.
So this is the part of the show that you all probably turn off the podcast, but we have to do it anyway. So make sure. I know it's getting longer and longer every time.
I say something stupid at the end though, and then it's like ah ha ha.
So make sure you head over to iFanboy.com. If you all listen to the podcast and you don't go to the website, you're missing out. There's a lot of great discussion about comic books. If you're into comic books, like we are, we love to talk about it. We try to post there as much as possible. We love to hear what your feedback is. And there's a lot of people who are active on the site and on the forums, and we can't thank you enough. So that's really awesome.
Every Saturday there's the iFanboy video show, which is completely different from the audio show. It's more of a focus. Sometimes there's interviews, sometimes there's wackiness.
Except for this show, which is exactly the same as the audio show.
And we promise from here on out we'll leave our shirts on. And this week we are just going over some more books from the fall.
Yes, that will have came out yesterday if you're listening at home.
Yes, and you can go to revision3.com/iFanboy for that.
Did you want a t-shirt? If you did, then you'd have to go to jinx.com/iFanboy, JINX.com, and if you send in a picture of yourself wearing said t-shirt, they'll send you stickers and all that stuff and send it to us and, represent.
And if you want to get in touch with us, as we mentioned earlier, you can email contact@ifanboy.com or leave a voicemail at 1-888-FANBOYS 326-2697. And finally, like we said, this has been 100 episodes. In 2005, when I asked Josh and Connor if they wanted to do a podcast, I
started it.
I never would have thought we'd be here. So I just want to thank everybody for listening, everybody at home listening to the show, everybody watching on the video, everybody here at Jim Hanley's Universe in New York. And most of all, I want to thank Josh and Connor because they're the best guys I could do a podcast with. So thank you.
You're welcome.
And Jonathan London on the phone. Anybody knows Jonathan? Jonathan?
Hey, how are you 5 guys doing?
There's actually more than 5 people here, Jonathan.
Don't fuck with me.
No, there's a whole bunch of people. It's amazing.